Hi, I'm Gia Mills, and I have been a celebrity makeup artist for the past 20 years. I am absolutely fascinated by the power of makeup and the politics that surround beauty and how we look. On True Reflections, you get to peek behind the curtain and find out what your favorite celebrities really feel about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them. So, who is with me today? My guest today has been a star of shows including EastEnders, Extras, Ugly Betty in America, and more recently, Shetlands. She's here today as she supports this year's Save the Children Christmas jumper. It's Ashley Jensen.
Hello there. Good morning. How EastEnders? That was a while ago, and it was a very brief appearance.
That's it. How many
Yeah.
times have you on it?
Oh well, I did 5 episodes 25 years ago, which is actually a quarter of a century ago.
Well,
And
we've got a good researcher, and he
I'll,
found everything.
I'll be honest, it was like I was so intimidated when I was on Albert Square because I used to watch EastEnders at the time, and I just couldn't get over the fact that I was in Albert Square and there was Barbara Windsor, and so it's not the best acting I've done in the world, but I'd forgotten about it actually. So thank you
Well,
for.
that's fine. The producer is very good at his research. You
Oh
see,
right.
he's a big EastEnders fan, so that
Ah, that'll be it then.
fine. So today, you and I have both got our Christmas jumpers
Christmas
on.
jumpers on, yes.
Yeah, our Christmas jumpers out. And there's a reason why we're wearing Christmas jumpers.
Indeed, because next Thursday is Save the Children's Christmas Jumper Day, which it's been going for 14 years, Gia. And I've been doing it since the beginning of it, actually. I've been involved with Save the Children since then. And up until now, it's raised an inordinate amount of money to the tune of about £40 million.
That's
It
absolutely.
it really is, yeah.
And what got you? What sort of drew you to work doing the Christmas jumper, or it's the campaign, or is it just the Save
Well,
Children?
it was a couple of things. After I had my son, I got asked to do a voiceover about a little girl in who was living in a slum colony in Delhi,
Hmm.
and doing the voiceover for it, I ended up becoming so utterly overwhelmed that I had to stop recording because I was having a moment. And I just became so patently aware that in the world there are so many things that we take for granted and so many children that are deprived of something as simple as a childhood.
Hmm.
And I just immediately went, can I do something more? Can I lend my voice to this? I'll do anything. And then a couple of years later, Save the Children. No, in fact, I went on a trip. My first trip, I actually went to Delhi to the Sanjay slum colony and saw firsthand the work that Save the Children were doing there. And since then, I've been to Tanzania. I've seen a migrant camp in Lesbos, and I've seen the work that they do in our own country, in Cardiff, in Bath. So it's all over the world. I mean, it's child-friendly spaces, healthcare, um, all sorts of things, and to be able to see that and to come back and report back on that.
Walk me through how the Christmas jumper ties into this, and what people can do. What's the relevance of the jumper?
Well, they started it 14 years ago, and it was a way, I think at Christmas, there's a tendency to overindulge. We all kind of whether that's buying things or eating things. And I think it's a wonderful time to just reflect on your year and to look outwards and to look at people that maybe don't have as much as you have, really. And I think that at the moment there is so much going on in the world with like wars and climate crisis and uh, the cost of living crisis happening here in, excuse me, in our own country. This is a way to. It's a fun way to get everyone involved, from school places to workplaces to just getting on the commuter train, putting on a Christmas jumper and showing your kind of solidarity in the work that Save the Children do, which is absolutely vital.
So people, it's about wearing the jumper.
Wearing the jumper and then donating whatever you can. I mean, they say £2, but if you can donate more, that's even better. Yeah, to donate money to savethechildren.org.uk. That's the website that you can
Okay,
get on, and it tells you all about it on there.
brilliant. Well, that's good to know. And it's just, I think we get so involved in our own families and where are we going, what's
Yeah.
our presence, we forget about the bigger picture. And I think it's a lovely thing you're doing. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that with us. And hope, our listeners get your jumpers out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love wearing it. Mine's ho ho ho. And
I know. And the
we
thing
all,
is as well, I think people say, "I can't afford to buy a Christmas jumper," and it's actually not really about buying a Christmas jumper. I last year I went up to Leicester to a school up there who was the school in Britain that had raised the most money for Christmas Jumper Day. So we had a little premiere of Shaun the Sheep did a little Christmas film up there. The Knit Before Christmas it was called, and we had a red carpet that was a knitted red carpet. So all these children were all sporting these jumpers that most of them had made, actually. I mean, some of them had got their school jumpers and they've sewn on baubles and tinsels and got a little fairy light, and they were so inventive. So an opportunity, I think, for children to be inventive and swap jumpers with their friends if they're bored of their own one. I could swap
yeah.
with you because yours is a rather jolly jumper there. You could get
Uh,
my wee tinsel number.
I like putting, and also charity shops, going
Charity
to
shops,
charity shops.
exactly. And then when you've finished, you can donate yours to a charity shop and do a swapsy that way. Yeah.
And talking of sort of films and Christmas, and everyone still loves every year, Nativity, that you were in the film. That
I know, which has actually become
forever.
it's become a Christmas classic, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
I'm very,
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm very big in supermarkets around the country around about December time. I see little children kind of tugging at their mums going, is it? I'm just pleased that they still recognise me because I actually did that 17 years ago.
So, but when did you last watch it?
About a week ago. My son and I were like, he was like, "Mum, do you think we should?" I mean, it's virtually Christmas. Halloween's over. I mean, he's 16. He's like, "Come on, Mum, let's watch it." So we sat and watched it. And of course, I cried. I just think the children are what make that film. They're just so wonderful. And the music was just so beautiful. So it's sparkle and shine and donkeys and the little boy coming down as this. Oh, so I drop a tear on several occasions in that film.
And it's just such good British, dry British humor that just we absolutely love. How does it translate? Is it big in America as well?
I don't know actually, but do you know that that film was improvised?
Oh, well, that's incredible.
A lot of people don't know that. And I think that's why they got such authentic performances from the children. Because sometimes children can be a little, I feel they can be a wee bit staged. They say their
Mhm.
lines, but because it was improvised, because we were actually just talking to them sort of in character, I think they actually thought that Martin Freeman was Mr. Madden's, who just happened to be a teacher.
That's probably why people connect with it more, because I think when you do have shows that have that deeper, that authenticity,
Yeah, yeah.
then it feels when it's feeling too contrived.
Yeah, they did 3 more films in the Nativity 3 or 4, I think, in the Nativity series after that. So
Hmm.
so it's obviously done very well.
And it doesn't annoy you that everyone sort of seems to remember you for that, and not all the sort of wonderful
Oh, no,
works.
not at all. I think, part of what I like about doing what I do is the fact that, if you can but when I was wee, I grew up and I liked making people laugh.
Mm.
And I find that quite sort of quite intoxicating to be able to make someone laugh. Is great, or to bring someone joy, or to make someone feel something, some kind of emotion with what I do. It's great.
Well, I think it's gorgeous, and kind of going on to the sort of part about America. So you obviously went over to America,
Mm,
and you landed such an incredible role in Ugly Betty.
I know.
I'm fascinated by the difference in the US and the UK. So they didn't really know you from Nativity, so you were starting pretty much, and they certainly didn't know you from EastEnders.
Did not know. I hadn't actually done Nativity at that point. What brought me over to America was extras, because
Okay.
it was an HBO and BBC co-production. So kind of naively, I didn't quite realize how enormous extras was in America. It was as big there as it was in this country. So like 20 years ago that was, 2005.
Of course, because I wasn't sure when it actually started.
Yes,
And how Sorry, go on.
2005. So yes, 20 years ago. So it was that brought me over there. And I literally went over there for a holiday and kind of inadvertently ended up in America. My agent said, "Well, go and see, meet an agent over there." So I met an agent. Then they put me up for something else, and I didn't get it. And then went away, continued my holiday, kept getting sent all these scripts, and I was a bit like, "I'm in the middle of my holidays here. I don't have time to be reading scripts." But then this little gem of Ugly Betty came by, and it just shone. And I just thought that it was something that was just so different to things that were being made at that time. And I really liked what it stood for. It was about, a young woman who, her values were like family and goodness and kindness. And it kind of made a mockery of high fashion magazines, really. And, and about, in some ways, it was kind of like a fairy tale. And it was like how kind of goodness wins through in the end, actually. So,
The shallowness
yeah.
of sort of I think it was the Fashion Awards last night, and I think, the way, going into the whole topic of this podcast about what beauty is and the
Mm,
pressures, etc., and the magazines and how they push this whole sort of narrative of how we're supposed to look and the perfection. So, and Ugly Betty, if it was sort of 20 years ago, I imagine that was right at the heart of still the magazines and the Vogues and the pressure to look. There was
it
none of
was,
this sort of acceptance either.
but I kind of think it's worse now because you've got Instagram now. That didn't even happen then. And um, I think that things online weren't quite as prevalent as they are now. I think you would make a decision to go out and buy a magazine, whereas
Mm.
now you've got people, it's coming through on your phone. And if you look at one thing, there's algorithms telling you if you like that, you'll like this. And yeah, I think it can be quite harmful. And I think it's a difficult time, I think, to be a young person in that respect, really.
I think for sure.
Mm.
Did you feel, going over to America, was there more pressure for you to kind of look a certain way? Did you feel you needed to change yourself in any way, or did they?
Absolutely not. Nobody did any of that, and I think if they had in that show, it would have been defeating the purpose of the show. And I think particularly my part as well, I was kind of an outsider. Um, and I think in comedy as an actor, I don't feel the pressure quite as much, to be honest, actually. And also I was older by the time I got out there. I was 38 when I did Ugly Betty. And I don't know, I think I was too old to kind of care about that. I don't know. I feel as if there are so many more important things in life than I would rather look in someone's eyes and have a conversation with them and know what they're about rather than listen to someone, I don't know, talking about. I don't do social media, so
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. I live in the dark ages.
Well, I think actually people are trying to sort of following your lead, because like Australia's just announced that it's banning under 16-year-olds for social media. So it'd be really interesting as a case study to see how, not just young girls, but young boys as well, if
Absolutely.
that has any effect on their
Yeah.
perception of how they look.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's getting there for boys as well. You've got the whole kind of sort of, they call it toxic masculinity, don't they? And
Mm.
I mean, I think it's quite a difficult time to be a boy at the minute, to be a young man. I've got a son who's 16, and it's difficult to navigate. I feel there are so many more things to navigate now than there were when I was growing up, to be honest.
Yeah, because I love we found some sort of old articles that you'd written about sort of your appearance, etc. And
Oh,
you
did I? What did I say?
well, the beautiful thing is what you talk about is that you never felt the pressure
No.
to really sort of have to look, as you say, to look a certain way. And you talk about the fact that, you weren't, in your own perception, you weren't the prettiest girl in the class. And that made it much easier because there was a lot less pressure on you growing up.
I think it's very difficult if you are it's almost like the more beautiful you are. I think aging is more difficult if that has been your unique selling point,
Yeah.
has been beauty. I think it's very difficult for young women to work out how to be when they begin to age. But I mean, I don't know. I feel as if we need to start embracing aging, because by aging it means you're still here and we're lucky to be alive, and your face is your roadmap of what you've been through. And I think that women, we can also be our own worst enemies as well. I love listening to older women, and I love looking at a face that's lived. And as long as I can walk and talk and do things
It's
myself.
Well, they say that men very much look at their bodies in a way, it's like, well, it's working. So this is an amazing thing that I've got. Whereas women
Mm.
can go, it's not thin enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not this enough. And actually when you do look at the body in a way that this is an incredible machine
Oh,
and really focus on that part, that
yes.
gives you a whole different perspective about how you feel about yourself, I think.
Yeah,
As
yes.
you get older, it's like, I'm still working, I'm still here.
Yes, celebrate it. Every day is a cause for celebration, I
I
say.
know. But I do, but I do, but it does seem a lot like society still really puts a lot of pressure on us women to look, the beauty industry is huge and it's it's played on fear. It's like, do you look young enough? Do you look good enough?
Being very aware of what is going on in the world, and there are wars, there is cost of living crisis, and there are so many larger things than I've got a baggy eye and a wrinkled forehead. I think
Mm.
that, it's almost like our priorities are kind of slightly skewed. I think that, if we were able to kind of spend a bit more time actually embracing who we are, and then being able to kind of look out and kind of, I don't know, just kindness. Kindness needs to be embraced a little bit more, doesn't it? It's what's inside that
Kindness
counts.
and humour. When you
Yes,
get humour,
indeed
humour
we
seems
do.
to be the best thing that bypasses
Yes.
insecurity about how you look. Because once you're starting to laugh with someone, you see completely past that sort of, do they have, not that one does what I do this, I'm sure you don't, but you don't look at someone and go, oh, how old are they? What are their wrinkles? Oh, how many lines have they got? Do they have Botox? You're just looking at them going, oh my gosh, that's a fun, it lifts you up in a whole different way.
Yes, yes, and communication, and I suppose that's the thing as well about, like, we've all got faces in our phones, and we don't look at people and talk anymore. And I go about now and try and make a concerted effort to speak to people in supermarkets. I think people just think I'm a bit mad because I'm striking up conversations with random people.
I think it's charming. And how do people respond to that? Do they sort of get delighted by that sort of
I
chatting?
Well, I think people are a wee bit skeptical at first, um, but December's always a good one because they always recognise me from Nativity.
Well, yes, yeah, when you're
But
in the supermarket.
yeah, but, no, I think that inherently we all just want communication, don't we? We all just want to, that's what it's all about. It's about communicating and talking and listening, and it's part of what I do as my job, is to tell stories and to make people think and maybe go a wee bit deeper than simply the packet.
Yeah, but I think, you're very lucky being in the media and having to do the red carpet, et cetera. There, is a lot of pressure. Did you ever feel uncomfortable when you had to kind of, stand in front of all those sort of hundreds of cameras and
Well,
did you feel un
you learn how to stand properly very, very quickly. And
trial
then
and error? Or did someone teach you?
no, I just watched and learned, because it was properly, it's in LA when I first started to have to do all that. Because Ugly Betty was nominated for Globes and SAG Awards and People's Choice, and I was nominated for an Emmy for extras. So there was a lot of red carpets. But I mean, Spanx goes a long way. Let's face it.
And for the Americans, they seem to be their glam squads. It's so much more sophisticated. We are best getting got better. But did you find that they were just on a whole nother level of like the tricks and all the makeup artists and stuff?
Well, they had people to do your hair and people to do your makeup, so there were two separate entities.
Mm.
Um, well, I don't know. I never really did it when I was before that. I never really. I literally went in at the deep end and was doing a red carpet for the Golden Globes and going, "Oh, how did I get here?" Wearing lots of diamonds and a dress and things. But it was exciting. But I think that for me, I was like, this is a part of my life. It's not all of my life. It's not going to last because you can't maintain that kind of level of whatever.
Mm.
And I went into being an actor because I wanted to tell stories and make people feel, make people laugh, make people think. I didn't go into it to be famous. And I did 10 years of theatre before I even did television, really. I did the odd bit of television. So I really started at the bottom and I really served an apprenticeship. So I feel that I'm still at the stage. I mean, I feel grateful when someone sends a car for me still, because I literally would get in the back of a van, put the set up, do a show to not very many people in a village hall in the west coast of Scotland. Um, Children swearing at you because they didn't want to be there. People walking out in the middle of it, dogs barking, and then you would take the show, the set down, and you'd go to a wee guest house in 1989 in the west coast of Scotland where the sheets used to crackle, and then you'd do the same again the next day, and you would do that for 4 months in a Christmas show that didn't mention Christmas, which meant they could do it till March. But I
But
loved it. I loved it, and that was what I wanted to do, and my success for me was to be able to support myself as an actor, really.
mm, I think that's often the case. But I think that's a lovely perspective on it, and it's lovely. I absolutely love doing this podcast because you get to really everyone's perception of famous people are
Yeah.
like you're ambitious, you want to kind of reach the top, you want to do all these incredible things, and it's sort of like everyone's clawing to stay there, and it's so refreshing when you hear this sort of openness that actually people are a lot more real, and it's delightful to hear that it's not just about all of that, and there are actresses out there like yourself
Yeah. But
do
also that it didn't
that.
happen overnight as well. I mean, I did theatre for years and years and years, and then I played, like, girl 2, not even girl 1. Girl 2. I would play girl in the betting shop, veterinary assistant, waitress, receptionist, and I did that, and sometimes I think that that is kinda more terrifying as an actor because you're being parachuted in to do a scene with the lead actor, and you're like, "Ugh." So I feel I think just now that everything's fast. It's fast fashion, and it's fast weight loss, and high speed trains, and I wanna be famous now, and I think that
Gratification,
pardon?
instant gratification.
Instant gratification, yes, and on phones and things, and I think that a bit of kind of longevity is good, and I think you earn it more. I think when you're if you feel it if you've really worked for something, I feel gratification.
Mm.
And I go, "Right, I've earned that now because 'cause I've been at it for a while."
Yeah. No, I think that's a beautiful thing and a good message for kids, the younger kids, Save the Children. It's, giving them those getting the values. So how do you get good values into young children and
Yeah.
not wanting, the money that people donate that goes towards the important things in life, not just the frivolous, silly things.
And I think the young people are more compassionate than I think my generation was when I was growing up. And I think that that's a positive thing. And I think that's why, things like Save the Children's Christmas Jumper Day is a brilliant thing because it's teaching children at Christmas about empathy and about other children and about kids that aren't quite as lucky as you are.
Yeah, I think it is if we can have this sort of ban, I think, on social media for younger kids, they can that I think that would also have a huge effect on the sort of what they perceive as the values that they have and what.
Yeah, well, it's like it's kind of robbing them of a childhood, and it's like this whole idea of save the children. Every child deserves a childhood, and our generation and below me generation are giving children mobile phones at 11, and they should be. I don't know. They should be out on the swings and playing tag and I just don't know, playing rather than getting obsessed with what other people think of them and having this phone that's constantly by their side. It's all about communication, isn't it? It's about talking to each other and respecting each other and not having an algorithm telling you what you should like or do or be into, and finding it for yourself. And we're almost becoming a nation of, or a world of, lots of women that look the same.
Mm.
And
Homogenous beauty.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And difference isn't quite celebrated. Well, it's maybe a bit more now, actually. I think difference is celebrated more. I think in some respects we are heading in a direction where it is. But you've still got this big old kind of like that women have to be molded into this physical shape that we're all
I
meant
know.
to look like.
I know. And just one question I always like to ask people, what, clearly you're looking gorgeous today and you've got a really good red lip. What are your three favorite beauty products? It's always interesting to know. I'm always fascinated what people's go-tos are.
Well, I avoided lipstick for years. I used to wear it when I was young, like in the sort of 80s and the 90s, and then I thought, oh no, I can't be doing. And also because I lived in LA for 6 years, you don't really do a dark lip there.
Mm.
And I was a little bit more suntanned because I lived in the sun. And I kind of avoided dark lips. And now I think I'm doing that thing of like, yes, I'm 50, whatever it is I am, 57, and I'm like, get the red lip on, get it on. So this is a Charlotte Tilbury lip, and I love it. I'm very much enjoying that at the minute. Um, I always like to, although I've not done it, I'm so low maintenance. Yeah, I can't. It's like I can't.
Foundation.
I'm terrible. I can't. I get bored sitting in a hairdresser's getting my highlights done. I cut my fringe myself. I nearly blinded myself because I tried to do my eyelashes because I did my eyebrows myself and I was like, that worked. Right, I'll get one for my eyelashes. Did my eyelashes myself. Nearly blinded myself. Couldn't open my eye for the rest of the evening. So
Was that with your lash dye?
yes, I was useless.
Ah!
Absolutely useless. And I think as a blonde person, I do need to have an eyebrow and an eyelash. But I'm not. I don't really adhere to specific products, to be honest.
The Charlotte Tilbury red lip. It looks.
I'm enjoying that at the minute. Yes, I have to say.
I love it. I absolutely
What
love
are
it.
yours out of interest? I'm all.
What I'm wearing my own. I've got my own tinted moisturizer. I'm wearing. I've got a bit of mascara, which I just pick up anyone. I never really worry that much. I just pick up whatever. I've got a makeup bag full of everything, and I
Yeah,
never actually look. I just
cheap
shove it
stuff
on.
and a wee decadent, expensive something. Yeah, I think mascaras just
Exactly.
dry out though, don't they? So you're as well just getting a cheap one.
No,
And
exactly.
yes,
Firstly, it's been really lovely talking to you today, and
lovely to talk to you.
so many beautiful things you've shared, and I know that the listeners are absolutely love it. So a massive thank you. And
Thank
for more
you.
details on Christmas Jumper Day, visit www.savethechildren.org.uk. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find me across your social media by searching at True Reflections. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favorite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.